LA Times The Envelope Roundtable is presented by Lucasfilms Andor Season 2 for your Emmy Awards consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Drama Series.
I think my character of Tommy Norris is not a heck of a lot different than I would be if I were a landman. He's very driven because he grew up in this. He knows nothing else, so he has to stay afloat and, you know, be some type of success. He's a world-weary guy, Tommy.
For the Los Angeles Times, I'm Yvonne Villarreal, and this is the Envelope Drama Roundtable. Our guest today, Sterling K. Brown plays Xavier Collins, a Secret Service agent seeking the truth in the Hulu apocalyptic thriller, Paradise.
We will find justice for every one of us who went through hell to get here.
Jason Isaacs is Timothy Ratliff, an American financier desperately trying to keep a secret from his family on HBO's drama anthology, The White Lotus.
My job is to keep all that from you, to keep you safe.
Alison Janney is the cunning Vice President Grace Penn on the Netflix political thriller, The Diplomat.
This is my game board, the whole thing. This is yours.
Britt Lower plays both the wealthy and ruthless Audi, Helena Egan, as well as the defiant innie, Helly R, on the Apple workplace sci-fi thriller, Severance.
Kind of like you and Cobell. Replace one part with another.
Kaitlin Olsen plays the underestimated but brilliant police consultant Morgan on the crime procedural High Potential.
I also have an IQ of 160, so that might have something to do with it. But you can learn a lot from a good documentary, you'd be surprised.
Billy Bob Thornton is Tommy Norris, a chain-smoking Texas oil company crisis manager on the Paramount Plus drama, Landman.
Getting oil out of the ground is the most dangerous job in the world. We don't do it because we like it. We do it because we run out of options.
And Noah Wyle is Dr. Michael Robbie Rabinovich, a senior attending at a Pittsburgh trauma center on the Max medical drama, The Pitt.
None of us are gonna forget today. Even if we really, really want to.
Well, I want to start with a sort of lighthearted question, which is, we all got our start somewhere, and you sort of learn by trial and error. Tell me about the oh my God moment from your early time in Hollywood. Kaitlin, one of your first credits was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. How on earth did you make Larry David laugh?
Oh, you just have to scream in his face and insult him, and then he thinks that's really, really funny. But yeah, I mean, there were no marks and there were no lines, so I didn't really have an oh my God moment. You just kind of like talk and shut up when you should shut up, and I mean, I have an oh my God moment for one of our background people who, I had the flu and we were shooting an episode where my fiance is getting baptized, and at the very end of the day, we were all supposed to run into the water because he starts to drown. And so, you know, we go all the way up until, and then they're like, okay, everyone's gonna get in the water on this one. And so, and I'm like, it's maybe 103-degree fever at this point. I'm like, let's do that. So we all, action, he does the whole scene, the husband starts to drown, and we all rush into the water, and I'm trying to get to him, and this background guy goes, oh no, I'm drowning too! And blows the whole scene, and we have to stop, go dry off, blow dry, redo hair. It was, I was like, I'm going
And he did it just like
to
that?
kill. Oh yeah.
Like,
oh no, I'm drowning too. So anyway, don't do that. You know, when you're a background person on it.
He's trying to put the camera on me, Mama. I'm ready.
He's having his moment.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is now.
It is now. It is now. Not on the
Star of Fast and Furious 19 right now.
Yeah. He went places.
I got one. It's simple, but it's just like the first time you heard Back to One, and you have like no idea like what that means if you haven't been expressed. You know what I'm saying? I was doing Third Watch in New York City. It was having fun, shooting the scene with Jason Bosco, and they're like, all right, guys, go back to one. And I'm like, do I? And I was like, I didn't know if I was supposed to leave the set or whatever. And so basically, you fake it till you make it. You watch what everybody's doing. It's like, oh, we're gonna do this again.
You peed your pants.
We're about to do this
number
again.
one.
I kept the trickle. It was a tiny little, but then I was like, oh, they're just starting over again. So that was it.
I was on my first day. I remember now. I arrived first thing in the morning. I was thrilled to get a job in the film. It was my first film day, and I was playing Surgeon Number 2 in a dream sequence that Jeff Goldblum was in. And I get there first. It's called The Tall Guy.
Oh, I love
And
it.
first thing, they give me a mask and a hat. I'm like, oh. So it's just my eyes visible. And I get down there, and the director, who's hassled and busy, goes, okay, we're going to start with you. We're coming in on the dolly, but because of the eye lines, because I'm on a very wide lens, so if you could start the eye line somewhere near the bottom of the jib, and then just the corner of the bottle, and then just take it to the edge of the matte box when we're getting close. And I went, right, what the any of those words mean?
What about worst audition? Alison, give me, what was that?
She doesn't give bad auditions.
Yes, I do. We saw. He remembers the first time he saw me was in New York going to audition for a movie, and which I didn't get, and he did.
It's true.
The same part?
Different part. Different part. It was close.
I don't remember what it was, but it must have been a bad audition because I didn't get it. No,
I don't know if that's not the case.
No, I don't know. I've had so many bad auditions. I hated auditioning. It made me so terrified, and a lot of. For theater productions in New York. Those were when I really had terrible auditions. And I can't remember one specifically, but I just remember a lot of teary subway rides home after them, just, the nerves just were so overwhelming. And then I finally learned just to bring them in with you and not try to get rid of them, just to bring them in and use them.
And Dowd said to me that she didn't get any jobs when she was auditioning for a long time. And then she thought, you know what, I'm going to go in there and I don't want the job. I'm going to show them what I'm doing. It's my part for an hour, and they can look if they like. And she started booking everything.
Yeah, like you go, well, if the character's name is Lucy, I go, well, in my mind, I go, Lucy couldn't be here today, so you're lucky you have me. Because you'd be in a lot of trouble if they didn't have me.
I like it.
Britt, do you have one?
I got a call back for a Star Wars movie, and I was so excited. I was like too excited, and I wore this like duster that went down to the floor, and I wore fingerless gloves.
Come on, man! Yes.
And I think
Fagin was in a Star Wars movie, but on.
Exactly. I wore the wrong costume, I think, but I wanted it too badly, and I think I was sweating the whole time, but I'll never forget looking down at my fingerless gloves and being like, I'm trying too hard.
When was the last time everyone here auditioned?
Not long ago.
I've been around longer than most
I
of
want
you.
it badly enough.
I can tell you it was 1987.
What was it
It was
for?
the last time I auditioned.
Do you remember?
Yes, I do. It was a movie called Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town.
Yeah, it was.
It was about a female biker gang in this little town in the desert.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear from the title, but
and it's like, yeah. But I remember being probably like number 10 or 11 on the call sheet, Cut to years and years later, I was at Cannes doing a thing for some movie, and Roger Ebert did an interview with me in front of an audience. He said, I've got a gift for you. And he gives me a DVD copy of Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. And now my face is that big on the disc, and it says Academy Award winner, then all that stuff. It's like,
These series are largely confronting or commenting on real-world anxieties or subjects changing in our world in real time, and you're bringing to life the human impact of that. Noah, let's start with you. What does Dr. Robbie represent?
ER was very much a patient-centric show in a lot of ways, and this was more of an exercise to be practitioner and physician-centric, to really show the toll that the last 5 years since COVID has taken on that community. And the thesis being that it is as fragile as the mental health of the people that we have in those jobs and the quality of the support they receive. So even though, we had to peer into a crystal ball and try and figure out a year ago what would be the topical cases of today, we were really more interested in how everybody's coping mechanisms have allowed them to practice what they've been doing for the last 5 years, how they've compartmentalized the toll it's taken on them personally, and explore that in real time, aggregate tension on a shift where you're just embedded with them without release. So that was, the outset was more about identifying the mental health of the practitioner than identifying the ills in society, but they kind of dovetail together.
We're getting slammed up there. We've had dozens of shooting victims. You've seen it. The fact that we've saved as many people as we have is a miracle. But you didn't save Leah. No, I didn't.
It all adds up to what I would classify, everybody else classifies as moral injury that these people go through every day when you're trying to do the best job you can, but you're systematically destined to fail because of the lack of support. It takes a real toll on psyche. So that was the Cool.
Thesis accomplished.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Alison Janney from The Diplomat, and you're watching the LA Times Envelope Drama Roundtable.
Helena and Helly, they're the same human being, but they are two parts of that same human being. These two parts of this same human being don't have any real chance to interact with each other. They just share the same physiology. So some of that stuff bleeds through to either side.
I mean, obviously, Severance, what really spoke to me was its exploration of grief, but within that, too, there's the corporate overreach and the work-life balance that I think all of us can appreciate. Talk a little bit about, like, what that illuminated for you. Did it sort of show you anything about how you navigate your work-life balance?
Well, we talk a lot about this, and the cast talks a lot about how the severance procedure is kind of like what we do for a living. Mm-hmm. We go to work and put on a different outfit and assume a new identity. Right. So there were some moments where you're walking down the corridors on the way to your job of corridors, and there's kind of this meta quality of being inside of a show about compartmentalizing and switching into a different part of yourself. Mm-hmm. But I think it's so relatable. I think we do that as humans. We show up differently in different spaces in our lives, whether it's work or home or going home for the holidays versus, your baseball team. Like, you just put on a different person, really.
Code switch, isn't it?
Yeah.
That metaphor's so there, and I never picked up on
Me
that.
neither. I feel really dumb now.
Yeah, I do.
Well, because when I go away to do a job on location somewhere, and I can actually, even at my ripe old age, I'm a father and I'm a husband, I can just park my life and forget about it. I almost feel, now I see that metaphor very clearly. Yeah. And it's irresponsible, and also there's administrative dysfunction and hell in my life. I'm so much more comfortable in the fictitious world than I am in the real world very often.
To the partners that allow us to do what we do.
Yeah.
Cheers to you.
Kind of like you and Cobell. Replace one part with another.
That's enough, Heliar.
Don't you mean Helly E?
Well, Jason, for you, on The White Lotus, your character, Timothy Ratliff, is really confronted with this decision of whether he wants to live or die and whether he's going to take his family with him as he confronts this big scandal. What was it like navigating that?
It was, talking about acting, it feels so pretentious, but the truth is, I guess, this is a place to be pretentious. It was very lonely. Mm-hmm. And he didn't really connect with anyone around. It's a bit like when someone you love dies and you wonder why the world is continuing as normal when you know that everything has changed forever. And how could they, or if you knew that, nuclear attack was coming that happens to you in paradise, and just the whole world has blown up for him. It's not really the drugs. I read some of people thinking that the drugs make him suicidal. No. Robert Maxwell jumped off a boat because he was this gigantic, I don't know if people remember who he was. He was a big titan mogul and a huge towering figure with enormous position in British society. It turned out he'd been stealing from everyone. And he jumped off his boat and drowned himself. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad. And just to be around these people talking and watch my family and one by one to have Mike line them up to tell me that they couldn't possibly live without the status and the money and the resources they've had, and they've had this very privileged life, and it was lonely and depressing. I mean, not the shooting of it. As him, it was a dark, lonely, upsetting place to go to. And my big fear taking the job, actually, was that I would have all this stuff going on in my head, but the audience wouldn't get any of it. And I just looked like an extra from a Cheech and Chong movie sitting in the corner because he's just out of his head on drugs. And I shared that with Mike, and he said, you just think it. I'll try and capture it on camera.
I couldn't ask for a more perfect family. We've had a perfect life, haven't we? No privations, no suffering.
Alison, on The Diplomat, you're once again reunited with Deborah Kahn, who you worked with during your time on The West Wing. What was it like playing this formidable character, Grace Penn?
Did people think you were that political? Is that people assumed you are that character?
It's been so awful I've been such a disappointment for people who think that I am CJ, because I couldn't be less like her. I'm not that person who's able to verbally cut someone down,
Right.
you know, in the second that she needs to. It was so great to play her, but I remember when they had the Democratic National Convention, and it was in California. And there were more people who came up to me and asked me after this is over, will you come work for us? Will you come to, you know?
What?
I'm like, no, you don't understand.
What do you mean?
You don't understand. I'm so not like that. And now on The Diplomat playing...
Equally articulate.
You know, playing the President of the United States and the smartest person in the room. It's so much fun for me to play those kind of women because I'm not, I mean, I'm not an idiot, but I'm not able to... I know nothing about being in the world of politics or being manipulative and knowing how to talk to I'm like this.
But you know how to be in a male-dominated field.
I do. What, as playing the roles that I play?
Well, you in Hollywood and like, but both characters are so formidable. I wonder what that's like for you, especially like the audience doesn't know this, but you were saying that you were nervous to be here, and I'm like, you're Alison Janney.
No, I see, but I love to do what I do and play these incredibly strong, formidable women, sometimes very flawed, but talking about what I do makes me nervous. I don't feel as comfortable in my own skin as I do in someone else's skin. It's entirely my fault. You think I'm suggesting it's not my fault? I own it, and I will carry it, but I will not let it tear down the president.
That sounds convenient to me. That sounds like a reason to bury it.
I can name every one of the 43 people who died in this debacle. I couldn't do that if it was 40,000 or 40 million vaporized in a nuclear conflict.
Talking about acting, anyway.
Yeah.
What's the
Talking
Frank
about-
Zappa quote? It's like dancing about architecture or something.
Yeah.
It's just,
Writing about music is like dancing about architecture. I feel the same way.
Hi, I'm Sterling K. Brown from Paradise, and you're watching the LA Times Envelope Drama Roundtable.
Morgan is a really incredible mom who has had a very challenging life and has an incredibly high IQ and doesn't necessarily find that a gift, but ends up in a situation where she's able to use it in a way that's productive and healthy, and I think she finally started to feel like she's at home.
Kaitlin, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is what, in its 17th season now. When you're thinking about, and obviously you're on Hacks, when you're thinking about signing on to something like High Potential, talk about like what factors you consider about how long I want to be committed to something.
I would always rather leave on top and not overstay my welcome. I don't ever want to play a character that starts to get old to me, because then it's going to get old to you. Sunny doesn't feel like that to me because it's a satire and the world's always providing us with new content. And we do 8 to 10 episodes a season. So it's 17 seasons, which is insane, but it's not that. I mean, it's not 20 episodes either.
Right. Sorry, real quick. I did a comedy on FX called Starved, and it started at the same time as Sunny.
Yeah, we did our premiere party together.
And we did 6 episodes, and that's all I got.
And that's all you
We premiered together, yeah.
It also looks like ridiculously good fun to make. And maybe it isn't, but it looks
It's
like
so
you had the
much
best
fun.
time.
Yeah, it's so much fun, which is the reason I'm not sick of that character yet. We just have so much fun. And it's different because, I mean, this is not a comedy roundtable, but you know, the scripts are great. I'm always surprised by how this weird story is going to intercept this story and then wind up, which is wonderful.
Are you loose with it? Okay, do you change the lines all the
But
time?
I
Do
was
you
just going to
improvise and
say,
stuff?
yeah, we also just are like, okay, now just do whatever, and then that was fun, and let's just do this. And yes, it's very loosey-goosey, so I don't know if I'd be able to go back to doing it any other way. But I feel the same way as you when I'm playing characters who are super smart. And then I have to talk about it. I just go into panic mode because I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be smart right now, and it's like, well, I'm not a dumb person. Like, just relax and talk about your character. But I
what do you
panic.
say? You have 160 IQ,
And I
or something?
don't.
And
It's
so great to play people that smart, isn't it? It feels
Absolutely.
so empowering.
Yes.
It feels so.
Yeah.
I feel really happy.
Yeah, and then I feel like I'm supposed to like apologize for the fact that like, 'cause I'm not that smart. But it's like, that's so dumb. Like,
but how is it been getting into her head, into Morgan's head?
it's amazing. It's amazing because it's different. It's cathartic. It's also really fun to be able to play a fully formed character. I mean, I love the other characters that I play, but there's heart to this, and she's a good mom, and she is very insecure, but puts on a big show, and you know,
She's economically challenged, which I love.
Yeah,
about the show.
I love that she's scrappy and has to figure it out, and she trusts that she will and doesn't rely on anybody else to help her figure it out. The technical term is high potential intellectual. Means you have advanced cognitive abilities, intellectual creativity, photographic memory, stuff like that. But I don't know, I've just always been this way.
Hi, I'm Britt Lower from Severance, and you're watching the LA Times Envelope Drama Roundtable.
We're in a war. Not everybody knows it yet, but it's happening.
If I'm giving up everything, I want to win.
Resistance is absurd.
The monster will come for us all.
You're here, you're right here. And you're ready to fight.
Andor Season 2 for your Emmy consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Drama Series.
Grace Penn is fearless. She learned early on that warmth was a liability in her career, and she's not afraid to make really, really tough decisions, some of them morally questionable.
Billy Bob, how was that on Landman of tapping into your character and the sort of things he's confronting?
Well, these guys are all so eloquent when I talk about this. I don't know. I really don't.
That's fair.
I have no idea. I have never in my life not played myself in whatever I've done. I don't care if it's Sling Blade Man Who Wasn't There, Monsters Ball, Bad Santa, Friday Night Lights. You could go on and on. And I've been myself in everyone, even though maybe I looked different, maybe I was acting differently, but inside it's always me. And if I were a landman in Texas, that's kind of what I would be. And of course you have dialogue that's maybe not who you are inside, but if I were gonna say that stuff, here's how I would say it. We're fortunate enough to have some really well-written stuff.
God, they're massive.
400 feet tall. Concrete foundation covers 1/3 of an acre and goes down in the ground 12 feet.
Who owns them?
Oil companies. We use them to power the wells. No electricity out here. We're off the grid.
They use clean energy to power the oil wells?
They use alternative energy. There's nothing clean about this.
I grew up down there, you know, and so it's not like I had to. Jason and I were talking about this earlier. You see, here's how you lose an award. Here's how you don't even get nominated. I'm just going to do it right now.
Let's do it.
I got enough of them, right? So Paramount's going to love that. Thank you very much, folks at Paramount. But when you tell people that you don't have a process, and that if you did have one, you wouldn't know how to explain it, because people like to see, particularly voting bodies and journalists, the audience is not as much, you know, because they just kind of like the show, because, oh, it's like, look what Ricky did this week, you know, whatever. But they want to hear us talk about our days in Shakespeare and this and that and the other, and they want to hear these very complicated explanations for how we arrive at these things. I never had to think about my dad running over my puppy because I grew up kind of in a hard way, and I keep it in my hip pocket. I love my kids, so if I've got to do a scene, you know, with one of the kids in this or anything, you know, I know what that feels like, so I tell people my process started when I was born. But I think your life experience is always right there at the edge of your skin, because I have anxiety disorder, OCD, grew up as a dyslexic, and have like so many things going on that it's like, you know, how did you act so nervous in that, or how did you burst out crying, or or why are you laughing randomly? It's like, just follow me around for a week. You'll see.
But what's the feedback you're hearing from, like you talked about, you can't go to Walmart in Texas. What are you hearing from the viewers or even people within the industry, the oil industry?
It's become like a phenomenon. the show. At the end of January, it was the biggest streaming show in the world. We thought people in Nebraska and some places would like it. We had no idea it was going to be this successful, but there's still something about it, about the characters in it, that when they see you, they feel like they really know you. And I think because the character is so close to, I'm not putting on an accent, I'm not doing anything else.
Killing the accent. I buy it.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Hi, I'm Billy Bob Thornton from Landman, and you're watching the LA Times Envelope Drama Roundtable.
Xavier Collins is the character that I play on Paradise. He's a Secret Service agent for the president. Kind of strong, silent type, very different than Randall Pearson from This Is Us. He's dealing with grief. He's lost his wife. He's raising 2 children on his own, and he's just trying to figure out how to make the best of his life one day at a time.
Sterling in Paradise and Noah in the Pit, you're both tackling grief. Tell me about what it was like exploring those emotions in your characters within your series.
Well, we all have metaphors that we use for those things that we need to employ, and we all have tricks and little ways of getting there. This was a technical exercise of aggregate performance where hour 1 is hour 1, hour 2 is hour 1 and hour 2, hour 3 is hour 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. So then when you get into the championship rounds, you're starting 7 a.m. on a Monday in hour 13 and bringing what you just did to that morning. So I developed a whole series of things that I did. I'd come in early before anybody else was on the stage, just so I could have the quiet, the sanctuary aspect of it to figure out where I wanted to be. But grief is a tricky thing, and you'd find triggers in scenes where the mask would slip. Early on, he realizes he's taking on water, and it's a foot race to get out of there before it gets up.
So go home, let yourselves cry. You'll feel better. It's just grief. Leaving the body.
Well, Sterling, in Paradise, your character Xavier is in this post-apocalyptic world, and he's just lost his wife, and he's trying to raise his kids, all while still doing his job. Talk to me about getting in that headspace.
He still has purpose, even though he feels like he's doing it without half of his body. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think anybody goes into parenthood planning to do it by themselves. And so, like, he has such a deep, abiding love for his wife. So thankfully, I have 19 years of deep, abiding love for my wife, because we basically just have life experience and imagination. And sometimes one trumps the other. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes you have to, but the imagination is, I don't put it in second. Like, they're right there with each other. And then there's the game that you play that you ask as an actor, like, what is it like if a bomb hits my wife and she's all of a sudden just gone? And you have to actually sort of live in that space.
Calls are dropping, not getting through, so I didn't know for like the last 10 minutes.
Xavier, calm down.
And now she's stuck there, and you said that you were gonna get her a plane.
Agent Collins, calm down. Where are your kids?
At school, I think, with your son.
Okay, then they're right where they need to be.
And what I love about crews, and you guys probably echo this as well as I do, they know when things are light, and they know when it's like you need your moment. Yeah. And you see, like, the crew just all of a sudden they're just like not even, they just do their thing as you're walking through in your sort of like fugue state of like whatever it is that you have to do to accomplish this. Is like, people, like everybody, the vibe on set just changes. Because they're like, oh, they're giving you your space so you can do what it is that you got to do, you know?
And you know when you've crushed it because you look over and you see Cobra guys.
They'll hit you. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful thing because it's not theater, but you do get feedback. You do get feedback on set, which is really great.
Britt, how is it for you? I mean, do you consider Helena and Helly are two different characters, or do you consider them the same and talk about sort of how you approached them to build them?
And then I'll tell you what I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then everyone will tell that. You know, we had lots of conversations collectively about, you know, what bleeds through. But these are essentially the same human being in the same way that we share the same face as our characters. These Helena and Helly have the same body, the same physiology, but the consciousness is split. Yeah. So I sort of think about it as like the nature versus the nurture, the ego, which is the outside self, which has all the conditioning and years of experience, and then the innie is more of this id, like raw energy that is buried within the outie person. For me, I kind of contextualize it as different music. They sound like different music in my head.
Tell me more. What artist is associated with which?
Season 1, I listened to a ton of Patti Smith when I was getting in the head of Helly R. Season 2, when I was more able to be in Helena's headspace, it was a lot of like orchestral music. I was listening to the soundtrack from Orlando a lot. Very icy and sort of sweeping. But yeah, I mean, I'll keep using analogies if that's helpful, but like, it's like an Adobe Photoshop image, you know, it's the same source material, but you're just modulating like the saturation and the highlights and the shadows. So Helly and Helen are the same source material, but you're kind of like dialing things.
I thought this thing, what you did in the show is so brilliant. My mum had dementia near the end, and before she died, and when she was dying, she kind of went back. She was a very troubled woman, a very fabulous, powerful woman, but she was very troubled. Many, many layers of brittle things and defense, and it all evaporated when she was near the end. It was like meeting the little girl that she had been, and she was so much kinder and simpler and able to and somehow I think that the Severance procedure inside the building, she's the purest version of herself before she got picked up by her dad and picked up by her position in society. And I really feel like she's who she could have been had she not grown up there. And that's what I felt watching it, really connected with me.
Yeah, I think that resonates for me too. Irving. Okay.
Jason, your time on White Lotus was a very immersive experience. You were in Thailand for something like 6 months, is that right?
7 months.
7 months.
$7
months?
Yeah, it was some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that an adjustment?
Well, we were empty nesters. We were freshly empty nesters. Our kids were abroad studying. In fact, they came to stay. And my wife, for the first time, she's never interested in visiting the set. And I remember one time I said, why don't you ever come hang out on the set when we lived here and I was doing a show? And she said, you don't see it. It's like the court of Louis XIV. People laugh at your jokes, they bring you tea, and it's just weird. And I went, no, I see it. I really like it. I don't get it at home. But anyway, for the first time ever, for some reason, when I was at a 5-star resort in Thailand, she wanted to visit the set. And it was great, because she was there for 5 months, and I could share the life with her. That's awesome. I so often feel the things that are filling my life, the people who actually, I feel like I know them better than I know my real family and friends, because you're in this intense bubble. She knew too, and it was a joyous thing. So how was it? It was many things. It was a whole, community, a whole village there, and all the things you would expect, all the lovely and terrible and boring and exciting things happened. I don't know how to sum it up. It wasn't a holiday. Let's put it like that.
Do you feel like there's that misconception that you guys are just all like at the pool?
There's a weird thing that happened as well, because I said a couple of times when interviewed, we were all given, it took off in a way that no one expected. So we were all given, I'm not really an actor anymore. I just do White Lotus publicity for a job. That's what I do. I've done it for months now. And in the billions of interviews, people expect you to say it was a holiday, we were in this resort. Well, we're not in the resort. So I've said a few times, and you make friends, you lose friends, romances, whatever. Things happen between departments and all the drama, backstage drama that we're all used to.
Sure.
Well, the online world went mad trying to deconstruct, trying to work out who knew who and who was, actually I'm talking about all the crew and all the departments and everybody. It's none of anyone's business. Just trying to deconstruct what we all think of each other and what happened there is so much less interesting than Mike White's brilliant stories. Shouldn't be interested in who went for dinner with who and who, all the rest of the nonsense. I kind of wish I hadn't opened my mouth about it, but I don't want to pretend it was a holiday.
No. Dude, it's what? Coconut milk's off.
But so not just the way that the show blew up, but also the level of microscopic interest in anything any of us said, tweeted, posted is a new. There aren't many new experiences for actors who've been around a long time like you and I, but this one has been shocking, and I'm quite glad that it's abating now. I get the subway every day, and I go to the supermarket, and I'd like to return to my normal life. I don't know how people who are uber famous deal with it every day. I've got friends who are like that, and it's been odd. It's been an odd experience.
How would I describe Dr. Ravi? Very capable, very intelligent, very compassionate, very earnest, dependable, responsible, unexamined, drowning, in denial, and probably not great dating material currently. Hi, I'm Noah Wyle from the Pitt, and you are watching the LA Times Envelope Drama Roundtable.
Whoa, what are the themes of the White Lotus? I mean, Mike White's, he's an artist. He's doing what Shakespeare said. He's holding the mirror up to nature, so it's whatever you take away from it. But I think the reason he said it in Thailand is because people go there often for seeking spiritual enlightenment or seeking the 5-star version of that they can rent for an hour at a time. And Tim actually goes on a massive spiritual journey, and the irony being he's the guy that has the least interest in that in the world before he gets there.
Well, before we wrap things up, I mean, you all have played so many characters throughout your careers. I'm curious,
Some of us are older than others. Some of us have done more than others, I think, so far.
Talk to me about the most impressive skill you picked up. And Noah, you know I'm going to start with you because I've already pressed you about medical boot camp. You've done really well with sutures. You can intubate any one of us, I think. Talk to me about some of the skills you've picked up.
How are you colonic?
I've never performed one.
Give him 5 minutes.
The night is young.
Give him 5 minutes.
Yes, I mean, I wish everybody an opportunity to slip into a role that you have such great muscle memory with from another aspect of your life, like when you play a musician or when you do circusing or whatever. When you do something you've done for so long and then you get to do it again, it is just amazing how much it's in your body and how you don't have to worry about that stuff, so you get to focus on other aspects of performance. So I'm very gratified that the procedures, at least the ones that I've done a million times, have become as familiar as they are.
Are you often called for when there's a crisis? Have you had to get the first aid kit?
Some of the people at this table, I'm fairly delusional. I really do.
You're hoping it happens.
I'm like...
Yeah, you want to be on that airplane.
There was a moment earlier where Sterling choked on a grape in the green room.
In the green room.
Allison saw it. My reflexes were ninja-like. I was so ready to Heimlich him, even if it wasn't necessary.
We should have had you choke right now and not tell him.
That's my bad. I'll hook you up.
All right, next.
Allison?
Well, mine isn't as impressive as his. I learned to memorize lines. I have my technique that I've heard other people have as well, where you write down the first letter of each word. Just the letter, and if it's it's I apostrophe, and you did all the punctuation in there, and you start looking at this series of hieroglyphics, and there's something about it that connects to, you don't put in, it helps you memorize it word for word. When coming from Aaron Sorkin and I had to have it word perfect.
Yeah.
So someone shared that with me. She learns Shakespeare that way. So I started doing it, and it really helps. You just have to, you write it out pretty big, and you write the other person's 2 cue lines, and then all yours in the first letter of every word, and you keep looking at it, and then you see the letters, and it, I don't know, there's something that works.
Wow. Billy Bob,
you're welcome.
What's an interesting skill you've picked up from the roles that you've played that you're like,
I went to air traffic control school for pushing 10.
Okay.
So I can still say Delta 2376, turn left, heading 040. You're clear for Alice approach. I'm runway 4 right. Call the tower 1183. I mean, because you just don't forget it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know that's not air traffic control. That's just a line.
Exactly, yeah.
Similarly, I come from a much more of a needing to just be in that place, just me in that situation, and much less technical. So I don't know that I've learned, like if I have to do something that's technical, I just get the bare bones of it, but I have to forget about that part and still just be me making a sandwich or, in fact, it terrifies me to first of all be told you have to say exactly what's written right here. That would send me into like a panic, and I wouldn't be able to think clearly. And now I'm thinking too much, and I'm not feeling what I'm doing. So I think I would be a terrible actor on those shows.
Amy Sherman Palladino, same thing.
Yeah.
Really?
It's hardcore.
Yeah, so I don't know that I've...
Their stuff's like
Once you
musicals.
know it,
Yeah.
there's a real freedom in it.
Well,
But
that's true too. I think I haven't put myself in that situation to trust myself enough to still be able to drop into it. But I think for that reason, I mean, I'm a great gagger. I've had a lot of experience gagging and.
Sorry, as in choking or being funny?
No, like fake vomiting.
Oh, right.
I got a good, yeah. Dee gets really gaggy when she does stuff, but I think I kind of brought that to it. I don't think I learned that.
So very early on in my career, really early on, I watched the brilliant Scottish actor Bill Patterson, who's in Local Hero. I was on the set next to a different thing, and I watched him. He was always had the sides there. Like, why didn't he learn his lines? I was straight out of drama school. And then I had a conversation with him. It's because he wanted to have a very light grasp of them and reach for them and still say those lines. But the skills, I love all that physical stuff. I love learning all those things. I'm always being coordinated. Yeah. I pride myself on making up in craft what I lack in talent. So I can hit a mark without looking. I can do those things. I've learned to use a gun, unfortunately, and I don't know if I would in a real crisis situation. All those things.
You can catch spells?
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for this lovely conversation. It was really great speaking with
you.
Noah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Do I have favourite performances this year? Is it too solipsistic to go, I loved my kids in the White Lotus?
Currently loving Mobland.
Billy Bob on Landman, or talking to Jason Isaacs with White Lotus, or Sterling K. Brown on Paradise, or talking about Severance. These are tremendous shows.
Severance slaps, man.
I've been watching Matlock with my kids.
I'm just now watching Parks and Recreation.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.